There it is.
So, Nala, so you're dyslexic and you believe in dog? Is that right?
Atheist and dog. Yeah.
Atheist Edge, Jim, Aron, let's do it. Rapid fire. You ready?
No.
So, it's just like that Randall Calrissian you and Matt Dillahunty did one time, except this time we're just going to try to keep your answer to like a minute and a half.
Okay.
Are all religions equally dangerous to society?
No, only the ones with power.
That was really terse. You want to elaborate?
Well, if you notice that every religion, when they're in an extreme minority, they're always very polite. And they always want to distinguish themselves from whatever religion is in power. Oh, we're so much more different, right? And so we wouldn't be having all of these problems. But then, of course, when they get political power, when they get the dominant political power, then you see successive changes in them. And they become more and more power hungry and more corrupt.
Yep. Are the actions of the Westboro Baptist Church protected under the First Amendment?
Yes.
If you were in a position of power, governmental power, would you abolish their rights to exercise their free speech in the way that they're doing, like at military funerals or whatnot?
You know, the same way I would abolish my own rights.
Great answer. You'd be surprised how many people don't answer that way.
Yeah, I just want to comment that there was somebody that was just now sentenced to death in Pakistan.
For what?
For blasphemy.
To death? Usually they get a caning over there, don't they?
Yep, but this one was to death.
Sweet
So
mother.
over blasphemy. And now think about it. You know, blasphemy should not be a crime. Blasphemy should be a right. And the only way to defend a blasphemy is to defend free speech you don't like.
That's what free speech is. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's to protect unpopular speech. What is your go-to dinner recipe? You got friends coming over, you want to impress them.
Chili.
How do you make it?
Well, I do mine with beans, and people in Texas will call that sacrilege. But when I started making chili, it started with beans as the first ingredient. So I was given beans as a child, and we started adding stuff to the beans to make it hotter and better and richer and so forth. And so now I have, 16 spices that we put into it, and it all has to be cooked in for hours. And there's certain rituals on how you have to cook in the garlic and the onions with the beef, and then you have to put in more garlic and more onions when it stews. And there's just certain ways in which everything has to be cooked, and then we have to add beer to it. It has to be a certain kind of beer, and there's an awful lot that goes into making the chili. Awesome. I also mix in kidney and pinto.
I was about to ask you kidney or pinto, but you do both.
Both, yep.
How many times have you converted or deconverted? Do you understand the question?
Yeah. See, I was a Christian nominally at one point, and then I became a reborn Christian for all of a couple of hours, and until a good friend of mine told me just how dishonest Christianity is. When I said, well, how do I know that this is really, the Spirit of Jesus, and that I'm not just fooling myself? And he said, yeah, just keep telling yourself it's Jesus until you believe it.
That's what did it.
That's what did it. So there was no more of that. And then I went into neo-pagan spiritualism, and I started investigating that, transcendental meditation and that sort of thing. And eventually, I kind of worked my way out of that when I realized that I could make anybody see, feel, hear whatever they already believed. You just set up the ambiance and you create a positive feedback loop, they will create the rest of the illusion themselves. And when I realized that I'm doing that to other people, it was only a short minute before I realized I was doing it to myself.
So a conversion, 2 reconversions, and a deconversion.
Yeah.
That's about right. Women are now allowed in combat MOSs, combat jobs in the military, where they're actually pulling triggers, right? Mm-hmm. Are you for or against every female in the United States, once they hit 18, to register for selective service like the males do?
I don't think we need a draft.
As long as the males have to register for a draft, should it be equal?
No, it should.
Or are you saying get rid of both?
We don't need a draft
right.
at all. So, I mean, if we're going to have a draft, yes, women should be under equal responsibility, but we shouldn't have that responsibility, especially since we can't justify any of our military actions.
Goddamn right. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, and I was in Iraq twice, and I told my Marines there both times, guess what? We're not even supposed to be here. We're in the wrong country, guys. But as long as we're here, let's do the job.
I'd like to hear her talk about that at some point.
Hell yeah. I could. Yeah, it's unpopular amongst my fellow Marines. Unpopular opinions. If you could be a guest of any show out there, TV show, cable, internet, What would be your dream interview, dream show to be on?
Well, I don't know that I have a dream show, but I tell you what, I would like to talk to Oprah once just about how atheists experience awe and wonder.
What was her name? The woman, Diane, the one
that did the
swim to Cuba.
Yeah,
that was the one. Yeah, I'd like to grab chew off a piece of her ass for what she said.
Gotcha.
I think you would be great on First We Feast, and I think you could probably pull it off. You know First We Feast?
I'm not famous enough for First We Feast.
Have you? If you put out your feelers, I bet you could get on that.
I gotta
as
tell
much
you
as you love hot food too, that'd be awesome.
We went and had boiled crab yesterday, the Cajun Vietnamese fusion, the sauce that's made with ghost pepper. Only I didn't wear the gloves, so I couldn't go to sleep until like after 2 a.m. because my hands were still on fire this morning from the absorption of the capsaicin through the skin. My hands were on fire this morning, today, on the way down here, and my arms were on fire last night. I mean, just wear the gloves.
Gosh, dog, man. That's a little too much for me. Flip the script. Ask me a question.
Why are we here?
I think that's not a well-formed question, because by why, you're assuming there is a reason. So we have to start with, we are here, and we can't go. We have to presuppose from then on out. Everything after that is a presupposition. In fact, we have to presuppose that we're even here, because this could be a lot of scientists, a lot of physicists think that it's very likely that we're in a simulation right now.
I would not say that a lot of people believe that reality is not real.
Is it gaining traction?
No.
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 Okay.
I mean, even when Hume talked about this, and a lot of Christians want to bring up, Hume's problem with what do they call it, induction. He says that we have to make the same assumption that a baby would, or that an animal would, which is that the data that we are getting from our senses has some degree of reality to it. We have to make this assumption because it is literally madness to do otherwise. We cannot function any other way. Now, if science works with the models that work, right? Even when we know that there's a flaw with a hypothesis, like the Dalton's model of the atom, for example, we still use. Well, we know that it's not an accurate representation.
Oh, the regular standard model.
But we still use it because we know that there's certain mathematical equations in which this model works, and these have productive success. So we're going to use this model because it works. We have to use the model that works. Now, we might get rid of Big Bang cosmology whenever we figure out another explanation that covers all of the data better and has more explanative power. But until then, we got to use the Big Bang, right? It's the only thing we've got that accounts for what it does or explains fuck all at the moment, right? So we have to work with the scientific models that work. Now, here we have a model in which we have data that is implying that there's a reality here, and we can get convoluted and we can pretend that none of that matters, but try to function on the assumption that reality isn't real.
It's got to be a starting point.
It is literal madness.
Yeah. You got to start at that point.
Yeah,
or you can't get anywhere.
And then let's just think about, there's no point in making it an illusion. Right? I mean, they did the math in the Matrix that the amount of energy that a human produces is not enough to justify this ridiculous illusion. So there's no reason for it.
Do you remember in that movie, and Lawrence Fishburne says, combined with a form of fusion? You remember that part in there? Well, if they've got that fusion technology, cut out the middleman. You don't need to grow humans. If you've got this fusion, run your cities on that. You're wasting energy making humans into batteries.
Exactly. So there's absolutely no reason to believe that reality is not real.
Yeah.
There's every reason to believe that it is real. And it's not even, you don't even have to presuppose it. You can analyze it all you want. So it's a presupposition is something you suppose before you get there. But then when you evaluate that, and then you come to this other conclusion, you realize logically, there's no reason for this to be illusion. Logically, if we take out every middleman, as you say, if we take out all of the other conspiracy theories, we just come down to the basic fact, what if reality is real? What if everything is exactly as it appears to be?
Yeah. Which superpower would you have? Any one superpower?
Time travel.
Why?
I want to record nature documentaries from different periods of geologic history.
Oh, wouldn't that be badass? like in the Jurassic period or Cretaceous?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine you're getting a mating season between two sauropods, and you get to film that and say, "Oh, that's how they do it."
That's awesome. What one piece of advice would you give up and coming YouTube creators?
Don't market your videos for kids.
Oh,
You know, there's the whole issue now that YouTube has. If their automatic
Animation.
systems, if their systems think that your video is marketed for children or is meant to,
no monetization.
there's no monetization. So if you just give up on making money on this, because every one of my videos that has anything controversial in it, and that's my channel, right? If it's controversial at all, it's demonetized.
And poor guys like Dark Matter 2525 who does animation, he's screwed
Yep.
because that's automatically for kids.
Yep.
Okay, that'll do it. Thanks a lot for coming on.
My pleasure.
We need to do another movie night. If you can stay in Texas for any length of time. Fuck it.
It is what it is.
It's Aron Ra. There could be naked clowns in the background on fire. It wouldn't
We'll
matter.
put in a closed captioning or something. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're square. We're rolling. All right.
Nice. Awesome. All right, here we go.
Could we have some more people like throwing sinks and stuff?
I know, right? It's all good.